Okay, in this video, we're going to go over something that's very important for running your mortgage business efficiently, and that is automation. So automations are going to help you create tasks automatically. They're going to help you send emails automatically, and many different actions. And we are actually in the process of bulking up our automations list over the next couple of months. So be sure to check out maybe some future videos, depending on when you're watching this, of some of the new automations. But we're going to cover the very basics right now, such as task creation and sending email. So you're going to visit your automations page on the left side. You're going to go to Create Workflow, press that button, and then it's going to open up the Workflow Builder. So it's very important to understand what triggers are, what actions are, and delays, okay? So triggers are what's going to cause the automation to happen. You can only ever have one trigger per workflow. It's basically the condition that is causing the automation to happen. So a very common trigger that people might use is pipeline stage change. Okay, so you're going to click the plus button here to add it. Now there's other triggers such as when a file's created, lead stage change, document uploaded, task completed, note added to file, contact birthday, partner added, closing date, and subject to financing date. Once you add one of the triggers, there's going to be some configuration on that trigger. So we're not just saying on every pipeline stage change, we're saying from which stage. So we can say application received to document request sent. Or you could do from any stage to document request sent. You're going to set your parameters here, and that is the condition that's going to cause the action to trigger. So one trigger, and then you can have as many actions as you want. So maybe you have an automation that says when the pipeline stages from application received to doc request sent, then we're going to create a task to follow up with the client, and we're going to say in 2 days. It's going to be due in 2 days after. So there's a difference between a due date and a wait time. If you are someone that wants to have all your tasks created right now and then just have due dates set in the future, that is what you would do when you're setting days from creation and then a number here. So some people, just to give you an example, would add in a bunch of tasks. They would have follow up with client, and then they'll do that on maybe 3 different times, but they'll set different due dates because some people work out of their tasks every single day. And there is some benefit of having all your tasks created at once, but just set a due date, because then you can just filter to the tasks that you have to do for the day, and that's what you know what you need to work on. Now, if you're someone that doesn't even want that task to get created until 2 days later, then you can add a wait time between. So you go down to where it says wait, click plus, and you can even just drag and reorder it and put it before the task. If we said days 2, now this would mean 2 days after this trigger, this task will get created. Then you could add a second wait and a third wait and a fourth wait. That's if you want to have delays in between those actions, those tasks getting created. However, some people, and my preference is to just have the task get created all at once. So you have 4 tasks created at once, for an example, but they have different due dates set, because then you know what you're going to do tomorrow and the next day, because you can always filter in your task hub the days ahead and see what your days are looking like. If you're waiting to create them, you wouldn't be able to do that because they wouldn't be created yet, if that makes sense. Okay, so that would be an example of task creation with a wait and creating tasks. Now, if you wanted to send an email, same kind of thing. Set your parameter. Maybe we want to do, let's say, new file created, like a thank you for your application. So you would click all file types. And then if you have multiple people on your team, you can filter to whose files you want it to happen for. So everyone on the team could have their own, just filter to themselves. But we'll just do any advisor. And then we're going to go send email. Okay, and we're going to select one of our email templates. So you'll go ahead and before this, you'll create a template in your email template section that says, thank you for filling out the application. We're going to pretend that this template right here is that one. You click on your template, and then we're going to send it to either the client, all borrowers, admin, or mortgage advisor, obviously we want to send it to all the borrowers. So that's going to individually send out to each borrower the email template that you had right there. So that's fantastic. That's great. A good way to just kind of keep your clients in the loop. However, if you want to do it on different triggers, such as when a task is completed, you can actually add in like a task title. So only when a task that has the title blank is completed, marked as complete, then send an automated email. So there's many different combinations you can do with the triggers and actions we have. And if you're someone that wants to do things for after closing and subject to financing, when you click closing date as a trigger, you can do an offset. So if you go down, that's how many days before the closing date. And if you go up, this is how many days after the closing date that it's going to trigger. So that's how you do the triggers on subject to financing and closing date. I mean, there's also just the way of doing it where you have essentially closing date, and then you add a wait as well for a certain amount of days, 7 days, and then something. They both work the same way, but if you want to do something before closing date, that's where this comes in handy. So hopefully this helps with how automations function. It's very straightforward. Once you have the automation set up, what you can do to verify that it's actually working is in your automations tab, it will show how many runs it's had. So this means how many times it's actually processed. So if it says 0 and then you go and do the trigger, such as moving the file from stage to stage, and it still says 0, it didn't run. So there was something with your trigger that maybe you didn't do, or you configured it a certain way, and you need to make sure you're matching whatever you configured, that action you're matching. However, it will likely show 1 run, and then it'll also show the last time it was used, whether that's minutes ago or just now or 2 days ago. It will show that as well there. And then you do also have your analytics up top, which will show all your history of all your different automations that have run. So hopefully this helps break down how automations work and how to build them. One key tip that I like to do, you'll notice that every single automation I have, it pretty much has a wait before any of the actions. You'll notice it's stage change, wait, task, 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 but all of them have a wait beforehand. And the reason why I do that is because on a stage change automation, it is possible that while you're dragging files through the pipeline, you might drop it in the wrong column. Now, if you had a pipeline stage change and then an action to send an email, if you drop it in the wrong column, it's still sending that email. So what I like to do is I always put at least a 1 minute wait in between my trigger and my actions. That way, if I drop it in the wrong stage, I can simply move it out of that into the correct one and let the automation proceed correctly instead of sending the client potentially something that I didn't want to send them. So that is one key tip right there. That's also another reason why a lot of people don't actually like to do automated emails. They like to have control over it. Therefore, they just have tasks that get created to send certain emails that they just have templated out already. So hopefully this helps outline how the automations work. If you need anything, let me know. And be sure to check out some of our other videos on different tutorials on the platform. Thanks a lot.